This is the Sales Babble Podcast, episode 466, How to Dispel Anger with Difficult Prospects.
Welcome to Sales Babble, the podcast that shares selling secrets for non-sellers. And now your host, Pat Helmers.
Hello, Sales Babblers. This is Pat Helmers. And have you ever wanted to throttle a prospect despite the fact that you knew it would kill the deal? But luckily, you found some composure and decided to hide from them rather than to become one of them? That's not a solution. The entire science of selling is based around finding an agreement on an exchange of value. Pissing off your prospects is the surest path to pissing away your career. So, what's a seller to do when dealing with a difficult client? That's the topic for today. But before we start, make sure and subscribe to the podcast on whatever app that you're listening to. That way, you'll never miss an episode. And now, today's chapter, Diffusing Difficult Prospects. The master seller has no mind of their own. They are aware of the needs of prospects. They are good to prospects that treat them well. They are also good to prospects that don't treat them well. They shed rude comments like a duck sheds water. Humble, they are a good neighbor. Optimistic like a child. In time, prospects look and listen. And now today's story. From the grapevine, Pat heard some disturbing news about one of Chris's accounts. Pat immediately called. I heard you got angry with one of the decision makers, and some harsh words were exchanged. Is that true? Chris hesitated. Yes, but they had it coming. They've got no idea what they're doing, and they don't appreciate all I've done for them. Head shaking, Pat responded, Look, we need to treat everyone with respect, no matter how nice or rude they are. And not because it may blow up in social media or put a deal in jeopardy, but because it's our responsibility to be humble and to help. Our job is to let prospects become aware of our products and accept that it may take a while for them to find value. Getting angry helps no one. Chris shrugged. You have no idea how dumb these people are. Maybe so, said Pat, but I do know this. Holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You're the one who's going to get burned. As Gandhi said, to lose patience is to lose the battle. Sales babblers, I get that this can be hard at times. When you put your shoulder to the wheel and all you get's a cold shoulder, you take it personal. But it's not personal. When people are rude to you, they reveal who they are, not who you are. So it's for us to be a good citizen who isn't afraid to lend a shovel to the next-door neighbor who's excited to plant a spring garden. Sure, they may soon ask to borrow a hoe and a rake, and before you know it, your garage is empty and tidy for the first time in years. Meanwhile, your neighbor is harvesting a bumper crop of Rutger tomatoes. When you're generous and patient, people start to trust, and yes, they may start asking to borrow your lawnmower. But more importantly, when you offer some advice and wisdom, they'll be ready to listen. As sellers, the sooner you wake up to this fact, the less anxiety you'll experience when dealing with difficult prospects. The takeaway here is not to get angry, but to get neighborly. Now, to download a copy of this week's Tao of Sales Babble chapter, You can find it in the show notes at www.salesbabble.com. And next, if you could do me a favor and share this episode with just one friend who's looking to grow their selling skills, I would really appreciate it, because word of mouth is the premier way of growing listeners. Now, you've probably heard it on this podcast before that I am the owner of Habanero Media. It's a podcasting agency that's focused on businesses creating podcasts for lead generation. To quote Seth Godin, podcasting is the new blogging. If you would like to accelerate your sales by starting a podcast on the topic of your ideal client, reach out to me. Go to habaneromedia.net, that's habanero with an H, and let's set up a time to talk and see what we can do to make you stand out from the competition. Lastly, that's all I've got for this week. Until next Tuesday, take care and have a highly successful and a profitable selling day.
Thank you for listening to the Sales Babble podcast. Find us at www.salesbabble.com.
This is a production of Habanero Media.